So let's talk about things and supplements. First and foremost, let's talk about what is psoriasis. So let's go through it. What is psoriasis? Psoriasis is a chronic autoimmune skin disease that speeds up the growth cycle of skin cells. So let me repeat that again. Psoriasis is a chronic autoimmune skin disease that speeds up the growth cycle of skin cells. So that means it is literally making your skin grow faster than what it's supposed to be. So it's an autoimmune disease, okay? Psoriasis causes patches of thick red skin and slippery scales. Patches are typically found in the elbows, knees, scalp, lower back, face, palm, soles of the feet, and can affect other places like fingernails, toenails, and mouth. The most common type of psoriasis is called plaque psoriasis. Okay? So that is what is psoriasis. Okay? So we've seen people who have psoriasis, these really big patches. They almost look like, I can't describe it. It's almost like cells and they're white. It's almost like you could scrape it off and they shed. So a person who has psoriasis, sometimes it's slightly different from eczema. It's not slightly. It is different from eczema. But eczema, usually people's skin is more dry and scaly, but it doesn't necessarily shed. People who have psoriasis, if they have it bad, it seems like it's almost like they have dandruff on their skin. And their skin can be shedding. Like they can have clothes on, and when they take off the clothes, they'll find skin cells like in their clothes, in their pants, all those things. Like it is literally shedding, and it is inflamed, and it itches, and it sometimes hurts too. You can also get something called psoriatic arthritis. The same issue that's happening in the skin is happening in the joints. Okay, so psoriatic arthritis or psoriasis itself is an autoimmune issue. So we're going to talk about supplements that can deal with psoriasis. As always, we always start with water. We're going to stay with water. Water hydrates the skin. Water is extremely important. Now, you're going to see similarities of things that have an effect on psoriasis as the same things that have an effect on eczema. And it makes sense. When you're nourishing the skin and you're dealing with skin issues, the same thing that happens in eczema, dry skin, the same supplements that will help with that is going to help with psoriasis, autoimmune issues. But there's going to be some slight differences when it comes down to what to put on the skin. Number one, we already talked about omega-3s. We're going to say that again. Omega-3s are one of the best for dealing with psoriasis, okay? But in omega-3s, it's something specific. You want the EPA part of omega-3 more, okay? It's saying for eicosapentaenoic pantothenic acid or something like that. This is the EPA. When you look at your bottle of omega-3s, it says DHA, EPA, okay? You want a omega-3 that's more concentrated in EPA. Now, why is that? Psoriasis is an autoimmune issue that's causing the skin cells to overgrow, and it is super inflamed. The part of omega-3 that cuts down the inflammation is EPA. So you want a concentrated amount of EPA from your omega-3s, okay? So EPA part of omega-3 is the best part when it comes down to dealing with psoriasis, okay? So you see how we changed it up right there? GLA also helps too, but EPA is more specific when you're talking about dealing with psoriasis, okay? Number two, we already said it's an autoimmune issue. What regulates the immune system? What helps regulate the immune function? Probiotics. You see how we go back to the same thing? Probiotics again? Because now it's telling the immune system to calm the hell down, okay? Calm down. They've actually shown studies that when you actually put the actual probiotics on the skin too, it calms the inflammation of the skin. So not only ingesting the probiotics, but they actually have probiotic creams that calm the skin down to tell the skin, hey, stop working so much, slow down. You're growing too fast, So probiotics. Number three, turmeric, especially curcumin. We talked about this in many other topics. Curcumin is extremely good for dealing with inflammation. Curcumin is extremely good for dealing with liver issues. Curcumin helps with autoimmune issues. So curcumin, that's found in turmeric, excellent for dealing with psoriasis, okay? Number 4, we're going to talk about, they found that B12 as well as biotin has been shown to deal with the symptoms of psoriasis. They found people who are kind of deficient in these vitamins have the psoriasis is even worse. And they find that if you take injections of B12 as well as biotin and mainly B12, that they found that the psoriasis calms down. It reduces the inflammation that happens with psoriasis. Okay, so B12 and biotin, excellent for dealing with that. Once again, vitamin D. We keep going back to vitamin D. Remember we did a whole hour talk on vitamin D, on how important vitamin D is, and how people who have autoimmune issues, one of the main things that they find when people have autoimmune issues is what? A lack of vitamin D. We just talked about that same thing with eczema. So vitamin D is very, very important when it comes down to dealing with psoriasis. And something that's associated with dealing with psoriasis is selenium. When you are deficient in selenium, you have a greater chance of having a flare-up when it comes down to psoriasis. So they found that selenium is a very good supplement to take. About 200 micrograms of selenium every day is a very good supplement to take to deal with psoriasis. Okay? So we talked about the supplements. Now let's talk about the herbs. And then we're going to open up the floor. So, herbs that's really good for dealing with psoriasis. Dandelion root. Like we said, when it came down to eczema, the same thing when it comes down to psoriasis, blood cleansers, you could use the same herbs that what I talked about for eczema, for psoriasis, but dandelion root, excellent for dealing with psoriasis, because it's not only a blood cleanser, it detoxifies the liver. So using dandelion root is another great herb that's really good for psoriasis. As the sister said, aloe vera. Aloe vera is one of the most healing plants you can ever use. Aloe vera is not only as a detoxifier, and it cleanses the colon, anti-parasitic, anti-carcinogenic. Aloe vera, especially the gel, putting on the skin just calms the skin down. It's like putting out the fire. Aloe vera also, when you juice it or when you ingest it, another great supplement that's really good for dealing with psoriasis issues, okay? So aloe vera, something that you can use topically if your psoriasis has been acting up really bad. Apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar, and especially if you want to use unfiltered apple cider vinegar, calms the skin down. It will help deal with the shedding too. So doing a compress of apple cider vinegar, or putting apple cider vinegar with water in a spray bottle and spraying your psoriasis areas will help deal with your psoriasis. So apple cider vinegar. This is used topically. It's not going to have the same effect if you drink it as it is going to do topically for psoriasis. But apple cider vinegar will calm your skin down and deal with the itchiness. Doing a sea salt bath or sea salt scrub. Okay? Scrubbing your skin lightly. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you try to scrub your skin like you got a Brillo pad. That's not the thing. That actually will cause you more pain. You do not want that. Remember, your skin is inflamed. So doing a sea salt bath calms the skin down, as well as doing a sea salt scrub. Light sea salt scrub in those psoriasis areas, where those patchy areas, will calm the skin down and also help deal with that inflammation in the skin. Another good one is, pine tar. I had to look at my paper. Pine tar. That's right. That old-fashioned pine tar. That's old school as hell. Pine tar is rich in sulfur. Sulfur is really good for the skin. Sulfur is one of the best nutrients for the skin. Pine tar is high in sulfur. It will calm down the skin. It will reduce the inflammation of the skin. It will deal with the itchiness. It will deal with the redness. It will deal with the flakiness. So if you have pine tar, you could use pine tar shampoo. You could use pine tar conditioner. You could use pine tar body wash. You could use pine tar soap. Whatever which way you want to get it in or use on your skin, pine tar is probably one of the best. I've actually seen dramatic results. I had a lady who had to cut all her hair off. Her scalp was so bad with eczema. Psoriasis. Really bad. She was shedding her hair. She had to cut her hair off because her hair was actually breaking off how inflamed the skin was. She started to use pine tar soap and pine tar shampoo and conditioner. After about 2 to 3 months, man, her hair started growing back. To this day, she always comes to the store and thanks me for it. Pine tar soap and shampoo, one of the best. Something you can use internally, Oregon grapefruit. Now, we talked about golden seal. I'm giving you all the families of golden seal. You have golden seal, you have barberry. Another great herb is called Oregon grapefruit. Okay? Oregon grape is in the same family as golden seal, can be used long term, safe. It has berberine in there. Berberine is really good for your blood sugar and all the other things, cholesterol, but it's one of the best for dealing with skin issues. Okay? So Oregon grapefruit. We already talked about sarsaparilla when it came down to eczema. Another great herb that's really good for dealing with psoriasis. Manuka honey you can use externally. If the skin is inflamed and it is itching you and it is flaring up and it is peeling, Manuka honey. Sometimes your psoriasis and eczema can open up. It literally breaks open the skin and you can bleed and you have cracks in your skin. Manuka honey is one of the best for healing that. So Manuka honey will soothe the skin, deal with any infections that may occur from that, and also heal the wounds that come from eczema and psoriasis. And another great herb you can take internally is boswellia. We talked about curcumin. Boswellia is another great herb. It's better known as frankincense. Boswellia reduces inflammation of the skin, reduces overall inflammation of the body, and reduces inflammation when it came down to allergies. So boswellia. And one other supplement that you can use externally is a supplement called ceramides. You may find this in some really good lotion. Ceramides add moisture back to the skin, acts as a protective barrier on the skin. It's almost like if you want to say, it's almost like a wax for the skin, if you want to say that, but it's really not. It allows the skin cells to add moisture between each other. So it's like a bond that's in between the skin cells of moisture, and that's what ceramides are. So ceramides are really good for adding moisture back to the skin, dealing with inflamed skin, dealing with psoriasis and things like that. So I talked about supplements that can help you when it comes down to dealing with skin. Now I'm going